What's up, ladies and dudes? I'm Nick, the founder of Video Entertainment Talk, and I'm back with another trailer reaction. But this time, this isn't just any other movie's trailer we're going to watch. This is Avatar: Fire and Ash. Before I continue, I would like to invite you all to subscribe to the VET channel. Here you would find content that's not only about reaction videos, but also videos that require script writing, that require voiceover, VFX, costumes. Basically, I'm trying to provide you guys with an extra value that most other similar channels don't. So check the channel out. If you like what you see, subscribe. Now, I remember I was only 19 years old when I first watched Avatar, the first Avatar movie. I was in the cinema theater and I remember thinking to myself, what are these Smurf-looking motherfuckers doing entering the Matrix, you know? I also found that all that emotional ICU stuff and the story a bit corny, cheesy, you know. But that was my mindset back then. As I said, I was pretty young. Now, when I look back in retrospect, you know, there are things that I just have to respect about this franchise. Let's not forget that this was a movie that had groundbreaking VFX. It was also the first blockbuster in 3D, which opened the door for many other movies after that to be made in 3D and find considerable success in the box office. Let's also not forget that James Cameron had been waiting for 15 years until technology gave him the chance to start working on the concept for the first movie. That takes tremendous dedication, patience, and foresight about the future. It's not something that anybody can do, so I just have to show admiration for James Cameron for that. When I watched The Way of Water a few years ago, you know, there was definitely some leap in the aspect of VFX. They grew even better, you know. There were fantastic marine wildlife shots in the movie. It was pretty dreamlike and mesmerizing. What also made an impression was that we had some emotional conflict in some of the characters, but I personally wish that there were more characters that exhibited that complexity, but still there was also a pretty good final battle and some serious drama, because if you remember, the Sully family lost a member. Actually, Jake and Neytiri's eldest son Neteyam died in the previous movie, which I didn't expect. So there was drama, there was some emotion, and I gotta say the second movie was definitely better than the first one. But that's only right because there's also a huge time spent between the first and the second movie. So it was something that I was hoping for. You know, not everything was that great though. Those shots containing pretty amazing visuals of the marine wildlife and the environments that I mentioned were also a double-edged sword, because there were too many of those shots. They were too long and nothing much else was going on throughout them. So at a certain point onwards, they started feeling dull to me and they started to annoy me. The other thing that I didn't appreciate that much was the fact that I had to watch the same antagonist again. You know, Colonel Miles Quaritch returned for the second movie along with his team, even though I'd have to admit it was done in a bit different light this time because they died, physically, and their consciousness was transferred into Navi avatars. So it was a bit different. At least there was that. But instead of dealing with him for good, he actually survived at the end of the second movie. He was rescued by his real biological son Spider, who, as luck would have it, our protagonists adopted as their son, as their human son. So Spider rescued his father, because he was feeling emotional conflict. From one side, he cared about his father, his real father. On the other side, he was loyal to the Sullys. And the emotional conflict, as I said, was good, but now I would have to watch the same antagonist for a third film in a row, and that's, for me personally, a bit too much. But at least probably there's going to be another player in the game, so we won't be watching only Quaritch and his team and the RDA corporation. I think that's pretty much sums it all about the previous movies. I'm not going to talk anymore about them. Without further ado, let's watch Avatar: Fire and Ash's new trailer. Again, great marine VFX.
The strength of the ancestors is here.
Whoa. That's not the traditional dirigible, I guess. Defiance.
Live like this, baby. In hate.
If there is something you can do, then you must do it.
Oh, there's Quaritch. Ooh. This is the new Ash trap, I guess. They're manipulating fire.
The children! No, Spider! And we will find another way.
The music looks epic too. Sounds epic.
Your goddess has no dominion here.
Got that? Well, that was the trailer. I gotta tell you, it got me a little more excited for the third movie than than the excitement that I have for the first two films. It seems like in the previous film, the Sullys had to be more like water, they had to be more fluid and adapt more while being on the run from their enemies, trying to survive. And now the third movie is about another element, the element of fire. So maybe that holds some metaphorical meaning as well, because they now have to unleash that fire that they have inside them. They have to switch from defense to offense and fight fire with fire, because it seemed from the trailer that this new tribe, the Ash tribe, I think that's how they're called, are pretty hostile to our guys, and perhaps our protagonists would have to fight this tribe along with Quaritch and his team, you know, the RDA corporation that now wants to not only exploit their home planet Pandora for its resources, but they also want to colonize it entirely. So they would have to fight a lot of enemies here, but it seemed from the trailer that they would have some assistance from the water tribe that we got acquainted to in the second movie. So this looks like a pretty big war for the future of the planet Pandora. What made an impression was that there's a lot of action, I guess, in the third movie. We saw a lot of action on the ground, around water, and in the air as well. So in terms of action, diversity, and fighting scenes, I think the third part would dominate the other two, which is cool. You know, I personally would enjoy some more action. We also see some pretty amazing CGI environments and some pretty interesting 3D models for the creatures that they've designed for the franchise. You know, some of them a bit too childish if you ask me, but on the other hand, they're one of the things that sets this production from other productions, so I guess it's cool. On the other hand, I personally wish that James Cameron used at least a bit live action footage when creating the environments, but on the other hand, I realized that the whole concept and the whole idea of Avatar is about it being pretty much digitalized. So I guess that's fine. That's fine because that's the idea of the franchise. By the way, I think that Jake and Neytiri's adopted daughter Kiri is going to play a key role in the whole story in this movie, as it's seen from this trailer, and as we all know already, she seems to have special powers beyond most other characters that we've seen so far. She seems to have a deep connection with Pandora's goddess Ewa. I think that was the name of the goddess. And I'm pretty sure that she's going to play a pivotal role in the resolution of this war and the whole conflict. I'm willing to bet my house where I live in right now on that, so I'm hoping that we'll get to see some more details about her powers, about her origin, because it's not fully known how she was conceived. Some people speculate that she has almost a divine origin, We'll see what the truth is, I hope, in this movie. And basically that's it. I don't think I can say much more right now. As I said, I'm not the biggest fan of the franchise. I don't know any deeper details about the story, but I can comment on what I've seen in the previous movies and on this trailer. I'm kind of looking forward to this movie, as I said, more than the previous ones, and I'll be back to you guys with another video once I've seen it. Until then, take care and bye bye.